All right, by special request today, we're going to take a look at turbo orientation, clocking, tearing this thing down in typical fashion. We got a eBay GT3582. So it's like your max peating rod style turbo. Great turbos. You need a little bit of displacement to spin it like 2.5 liters, I'd say. Work great on a K20, K24. I'm expecting boost at about 3,000 RPM, but it'll make like 500 horsepower. So if you're looking for the power, it's a great turbo to use. But let's dive into this thing. We're gonna basically take both the front and rear housings off. We'll look at the clocking, so just moving the housings to fix clearance issues with other things in your engine bay, and might as well strip it down a little bit in the process. So first, taking a look at the compressor side, you just simply crack all these bolts and undo them. I've loosened them ahead of time, but for this application, at least they were a 13 millimeter. Probably some imperial size that I could not tell you. And if you're going to clock it, you just need to loosen these enough for the locking plates to be movable. But for demonstration, I'll just take all the locking plates and bolts out. So with the bolts loosened, you should be able to rotate this housing, though you might find it kind of stiff, and the reason for that is typically there'll be a little silicone O-ring underneath to prevent a boost leak between these housings, especially on eBay units where the machining is not as tight tolerance as, like a Borg Warner or Garrett. So it might take a bit of force to separate this. I might get a rubber mallet to just bump it real quick. Back with the mallet. So it won't take a lot of force because you're just trying to separate the gasket. So yeah, there's that little O-ring. So if you're trying to figure out your orientation, you probably want to peel the O-ring out, put it back together without the gasket, throw it in your car, orient this however you want. So even at this point, and yeah, just careful not to score up anything when you're putting this in. You want to put it in pretty straight. So that'll allow you to adjust the location of your outlets relative to everything else on the turbo. Just a quick look at the eBay turbo front side. Spins quite well. This one's journal bearing. But you can get a hell of a lot of turbo for not a lot of money off of eBay. And like the internals on this thing are a near duplicate of like a Borg Warner. So really the difference with Chinese made versus German made, American made turbos is the quality of balance. So if you've got a local shop that'll do balancing for like $50, it's probably worthwhile to take the center cartridge in and just have them do like a VSR style balance where they run this thing with pressurized oil to high speed and make any additional material removal if needed. Similar process on the hot side, the rear side of the turbo. So I've taken all the bolts out already, but you'll notice there's one that is underneath the oil drain. So going to try to twist it out, it's going to hit the oil drain. So all you're going to want to do, loosen the other bolts, remove what you need to, and then simply clock that out of the way to get your bolt out. But just like on the front side, you loosen all your bolts, and that allows you to clock. And there's typically no gasket on the backside because of the heat, but what you'll find is a heat shield. So this heat shield kind of acts as your gasket. There you got your center cartridge out. And this one feels great. So what you do want to be aware of, however this bolts to your manifold, you want to make sure, so for sake of discussion here, we'll call this top side level. And again, just real careful inserting so you're not dragging that wheel on the housing. You want to make sure that your oil drain is clocked to be downward and a little bit. So I got the oil drain right about here. A little bit of slope is fine in either direction. And in fact, ideally, where you've got your coolant lines, you'd like your coolant line to be sloped upward slightly. And that's going to help in convection of the water as it heats up. The water is going to try to rise as it heats, and you want your hot outlet sloped up slightly. And it doesn't really matter which is in and out typically, but a little bit of slope helps in convection. Your system will automatically convect and balance depending on where you get your water sources. So here's the turbo torn down at all its kind of major components. Got all the bolts and little clamping plates bagged and tagged. So now I got this thing apart, and I didn't really have a use for it. It was kind of just on the shelf and, using it for demonstration. But I got a whole bunch of things on the go here. Got the Skyline Turbo all Cerakoted up, ready to go. But you will notice right here, I had already done a Cerakote like thermal barrier coating on this guy, the backing plate for the same turbo. So kind of thinking I'm about to throw these things in the oven to off gas them, and maybe in the future I'll do like a upgraded eBay GT3582 build. Yeah, just a little bit of content. But if you guys like the video, as always, like and subscribe, and enjoy the requests. I'll keep making stuff if somebody's got questions. Thanks.